Hey, how's it going? It's Grant
And Shelby.
with the Garden of Eater, and today we're going to be talking all about Caridina shrimp. They're the dwarf freshwater shrimp that likes it a little bit softer, the pH down into the low sixes, if not low fives even. And, you got to make your RO water. You got to have the GH substrate. You got to have the aqua soil, at least for a majority of them. There are the exception for the tiger shrimp, but, they're going to do a little bit better in the conditions where you use the three things that are most important for Caridina shrimp. So RO water, GH only minerals, and the aqua soil. But to dive right into it, the first thing that you got to get when you start out a shrimp tank, of course, is going to be the tank itself. Now, dealing with shrimp in different size aquariums, obviously the larger the better. We find that 10 gallons is the lowest that we'd like to go, where we don't see a reduced rate in growth and overall size of the shrimp isn't stunted. With like a 7.5 gallon, even, we do find the shrimp just don't get as large overall. They take longer to grow up, and overall, they just don't produce as much babies as the larger tanks. The larger tanks are going to have a higher baby survival rate because it's easier to maintain the parameters and keep everything constant. So the dollar per gallon sale isn't going on right now, but it goes on like 4 or 5 times a year. So if you're looking for a cheap aquarium, the 10-gallon tank is usually cheaper than most aquariums that are smaller than 10 gallons anyways. So 10 gallons is where it's at. All the tanks behind us are 10 gallons. This whole row has 100 10-gallon tanks on it, and probably 300, if not more, of the 420 plus aquariums in our house are 10-gallon tanks. So you can definitely see 10-gallon or larger is wanted. And then the next thing is going to be lights. If you don't have lights on your shrimp, they're going to lose a lot of their pigment and coloration. We had once upon a time where we had too many tanks, not enough lights, especially if one light goes out, and you keep the lights off for one aquarium just for the time period it takes you to get that light replaced, and it can take the shrimp's quality down quite a bit. Bloody Marys, they'll lose almost all of their color as a Neocaridina, but even Caridina, the crystal shrimp, and some of the tigers and stuff like that, they'll lose a lot of coloration too if there isn't any lighting on them. For shrimp, their pigment and anything really is pigment is just like natural sunscreen. So the more sun you have on the aquarium, the more pigment you're going to have on your shrimps. But of course, the more light, the more algae. So you want to keep the water as clean and pristine as possible. They don't need anything more than like 8 hours a day. And even so, they don't even need 8 hours. They could be fine with 5 or 6. But we do run our lights here at the house for about 12 to 16 hours. Some of the lights are on just constantly all day while we're awake. And we don't really turn them on or off unless we're sleeping and awake. So,
Thank you so much, Toop Dog, member for 10 months. All the Caridina babies made it safe. Hashtag TGOE rules. So glad to hear.
appreciate the shout out and glad to hear.
Garcia Aquatics, member for 16 months. Thank you so much. Said, well, hello. How are you guys?
I'm doing well, but I can't speak for Shelby. She's a little worn out. We did both get a little bit sick. I got sick first, and then of course I gave it to Shelby because that's what kind of person I am. I like to share, and she's now on the probably final day of recuperating and recovering. But we're doing a lot better. Tomorrow will be like my second day of just normal water changes. And I say normal water changes because all the other ones were like rushed or forced or targeted for Nick's talk or pretty much like to get the insurance and stuff done. It just nothing was normal. So back onto a regular schedule, and it feels good. So hope you're doing well, Garcia. Back to me.
Zero Aquatics. Good evening, Shrimp fam. I just noticed my first crystal red babies this morning. How is sexing different from cherries? I don't even think I have any males. I sadly had 2 deaths the past 2 days.
So for both Neocaridina and crystal shrimp, it is pretty much the same for sexting. For sexing them, the females are going to have the deep bellies, wider bodies, and then the males are going to be flat on the bottom, where also the males will have longer antenna and the females will have shorter. The only other thing is it's kind of harder to sex Caridina shrimp because it's super hard to see the saddle. With Neocaridina, it's pretty easy to see a saddle, and you know if there's a saddle, it's a female. So hope that helped you out. And the 2 deaths, if you're doing water changes and staying on top of everything, don't be scared to do water changes with babies in the tank.
And then Zen, member for 21 months, thank you so much. Said, hey, TGO ears, can't stay long. Hope you're all well.
Just mentioned that when we were talking to Garcia last, but yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Hope you're doing well as well, Zen. Back to me. Mm-hmm. All right, now the next thing you're going to need for your Caridina tank is going to be filtration. We recommend the double sponge filters with the suction cups that just cling to the sides of the aquariums. That's what we have for all of the tanks. Some of our larger tanks, we have the base sponge filters that just have the weight on the bottom and they're cylindrical. Plamsky was using those as well. But on top of that, he was using some hang on the back and canister filters. Those are both great options too. You just got to make sure you have the mesh or some type of sponge to prevent babies from getting sucked up. With everything going on in our house, I feel like this massive wall could just cost an arm and a leg to try and plumb it all, to get it all running on one sump. Also, it has its pros and cons with babies being able to get through, and then it's just more work to keep everything pure and stable. But to power like a hang on the back for each one of these tanks would just be ridiculously expensive, and the electric bill would go through the roof. And I don't think it would justify costs for us to do it on all of our aquariums. But if you only have one Caridina tank, I think with seeing Plamsky's setup, I would definitely recommend like running as much filtration as you possibly can in the tank. It was certainly helping. He was able to keep massive amounts of shrimp in much smaller holding areas because of his filtration. So if you do go smaller on the tank size, go bigger on the filtration, especially if you have a lot of shrimp in the tanks. Also with us, we don't keep nearly as many shrimp in the tanks, mainly because we sell them as they grow up, and it's hard to keep shrimp in stock for us when we have the YouTube channel to advertise and everything. But 3 or 4 males to 10 to 15 females is a great colony to have in a 10-gallon tank with a single sponge filter as filtration. If you're going to do like 50 to 100 breeding adults in the tank, I would definitely do like a hang on the back or some type of canister filter. You want to ask this one?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just looking at the phone and this is over my face, so I find it funny. Abstract said, you think an FX4 is overkill for a shrimp tank?
Like a 20-gallon, it would be fine. For like a 10-gallon, it's probably a little overkill, and you might have an issue with like shrimp getting stuck to the intake. I'm not sure how far down you can turn them down. We have one of the, I think that's like the 350s, the fluval canisters. It's not an FX series. And it's pretty strong, but it's good enough for shrimp, and you don't really need much more for like a 55-gallon tank.
The only thing I did also see later is he comment, why are my shrimp disappearing? The FX4 filter might be your issue. Open up that and see if they're in there. A lot of times, if you don't cover that intake well enough with, say, a mesh or something, they're going up there. So I know that most of the intakes are big and you could even suck up fry with it. So that's where I would check first. Other than that, you could have like a bacteria or them being older, and then shrimp just eating them before you can find the dead bodies would also be a reason why your shrimp are disappearing.
For whatever reasons, they can die at nighttime, and they just devour a whole shrimp overnight, and you never even knew it. So, all right, back to me. So, the next thing is going to be substrate. For Caridina shrimp, there's really only one method that I find acceptable for keeping the pH low enough and stable enough in a Caridina tank that you're going to have a high baby survival rate. There is peat moss, there is chemicals and stuff like that. And the peat moss doesn't last very long. You have to replace it. It's very dirty, black water, and makes it hard to see the shrimp. With the substrate, it can last 3 to 5 years with good soil. And, you got crystal clear water. The plants love it. And the pH is going to stay as pretty much stable as you can have it without any work whatsoever. You're just doing your water changes with 0 kH water, and that won't try to neutralize your pH, and your pH will go down initially to like 5.5 or 6, depending on what substrate you get. Also depends on the batch. Different bags of substrate can give you different results. And then once you've started the cycle, pretty much as time goes on, water and erosion is going to break down the substrate, and it's basically going to put particles of that substrate airborne into the tank, and that is what is buffering the water down. Well, over time, your 5 millimeter ball is going to shrink, and over 5 years or so, you could end up with just a smaller 1 millimeter size ball, or dust or mud, however it's going to break down. So you definitely want a good, strong, stable substrate. We recommend Brightwell. We've had some good results with Proteobio, Shrimp King, and Fluval as well. We've also had some issues and stuff like that with certain aquariums, and we'll be, bringing forth like a full updated test on all of our substrates here as we get caught up on videos. Right now in the in the studio, we've got Plamsky's shrimp video going all together. And then right behind that, we've got a whole plethora of ideas of videos that we want to start cranking out. So hopefully we can get to those and get those rolling out. But you definitely want a good substrate. You spend a little bit more money maybe for Brightwell than one of the other options, and the Brightwell is going to last you maybe longer than the other one. So if we were to go out and get a whole bunch of free substrates at these shows and stuff like that, like we do, there's a lot of leftovers that go around, and just make sure you bag them up, pack them up, so that way there's no air exposure to the substrate, and then it can dry out and crumble, and it's no good after that. So we'll gather up all these substrates. But if we're setting up like a Caridina tank, and it's for our best shrimp, and we want the absolutely best of the best, we're buying a bag of Brightwell. Usually off of Amazon is the best price to get it, and it's going to last, and it's trusted, and we've never actually had a bad bag of Brightwell. I've heard of other people having bad bags, but at the same time, they had issues with other things going on too. So I don't necessarily believe it was the bag's fault.
Dominique asks, can I crossbreed Nanashi metallic with boa shrimp?
Yeah, you can. They're both very similar in genetics. Pretty much the only difference was one was bred for more tiger stripes, and one was bred for more of the spotting and galaxy fishbone pattern. So if you do crossbreed them together, you're going to get a lot of like ugly mutts in between. Like you're not going to get a whole lot of Nanashi and a whole lot of boas, but you'll get some galaxies and probably a lot of low-grade Nanashi and broken tie bee patterns. But they can cross. You can keep them both together. They're both going to produce some nice shrimp on their own, but together, not as nice.
Professor Fishing said, question, for whatever reason, I've been having issues with the mono shrimp. Any pointers?
Amanos is not something we even keep in the house, but like they should be the easiest shrimp to keep. If you're doing water changes and you've got enough food in the aquarium, then you should be good. There's things like copper and algicide and CO2 that could be a factor in causing the Amano shrimp some problems. So.
And then Johnny Best said he'd come work for you for free. You just build a shed out back. We do have a tiki bar. We could just finish that in. Grant Murphy said, hi, Grant and Shelby. I've been cycling Caridina tanks for 12 weeks, have low pH at 5.5 with no nitrates or nitrates.
Nitrates and nitrites.
Ammonia, I'm refusing to put my glasses on. Ammonia is very low, 0.25 ppm. Do you think all right for shrimp?
For 12 weeks, yeah. I wonder what kind of substrate you're using. Is it ADA? And then the other thing is, have you added any of the bacteria, the beneficial bacteria, like a liquid or some type of powder or something like that? But like 12 weeks, the ammonia is low enough that I really wouldn't worry about it. And in low pH, chloramine could actually read as ammonia, I believe. So maybe just a little bit of prime into the water, and it could clear that out for you. So,
small water
but after 12 weeks, you shouldn't have any issues. But ADA, I've heard some stories where it just turns to mud and just dumps a bunch of ammonia into the tank. But it's usually much higher than
It is ADA.
It's usually much higher than 0.25 ppms. I would also try to take out maybe a piece of the substrate and see if it crumbles. And if it does, you might want to think about just swapping out the substrate and doing something else.
Back to you.
All right. So yeah, the substrate, it honestly is a must-have. It's expensive for a bag. It used to be around $40 for like a 9-liter bag on average price across the board. You can get a 23-pound bag. I think it's 15 liters off of Amazon, usually a Brightwell for around $80. It does vary. Sometimes it's on sale for $55. Sometimes it's just not in stock, and for whatever reason, it's like $115 or $120. So definitely try to buy it like right around $70, $80 is a good buy. It's the most bang for your buck still if you compare it to the other substrates that sell it in smaller bags. And it's initial maybe $80 up front, but the shrimp do tend to sell for more money than Neocaridina, so you have to spend more money on the substrate, but you generally get that money back a lot quicker when you sell the offspring. And then Hardscape, I love wood the most when dealing with shrimp tanks. It really is like the safest option. Spiderwood, Malaysian, Manzanita, Maponi, I don't know how to say Maponi, my pony, your pony, Maponi. All right. So there's a couple other good ones too. Ghostwood is another good one, but really any of the harder woods, it might take some time before it sinks, but there are a lot better options out there for wood than there are for rock. Rock, I like Dragonstone. There has been a just Josh. I don't know what you did, Josh, to alter your parameters with the Dragonstone, but you got to make sure you really wash this stuff out really well. There's like mountain stone and stuff like that. Some batches end up altering and raising the pH. Some won't, but it's really risky, and it's better off with the Caridina shrimp to just leave it out of the tank. River stone is a good safe one, but I just recommend wood over stones and Caridina tanks. Lava rock is my favorite though. Lava rock's a good one. You get something else for me?
No, for me.
For
Cute
you?
Dog said, Shelby, update on the new logo. No plans on that yet. It's going to be a little bit till we figure what we want to do and what to fix. Because I even fixed it up in the right corner and you can't even see it.
Yeah.
That's driving me crazy. It's just it is not good. Can't see it in any design that we do. So
Might as well go back to the old one then.
I know it's bad.
So
You still couldn't see that one either.
the thing about Hardscape is, though, you are adding more surface area. The more surface area in your aquarium, the more spaces for biofilm to grow. Biofilm should be the main food source for your shrimp, whether it's Caridina or Neocaridina. They're both scavengers, and they don't eat from the water column, so they like to pick, they like to graze, and munch on all the little white fuzz that grows on the wood and rocks.
Johnny said, Grant, I took your advice and I finally got rid of the aquarium co-op course sponge filter. I replaced it with the ones you have. These darn coarse sponge filters become a house for snails. Oh, yeah. That's the worst.
Yeah, but like you're going to find if you let the flow die off on these sponge filters too, that the snails will make their way into those as well. So it's just a matter of time, and snails are pesky. And I don't think aquarium co-op sponge is that bad. There's some shrimp breeders that use it too, and I was even thinking about maybe trying some of them out for Shelby's fish room. So
No, I don't. I personally don't like coarse sponges, and it's not against aquarium co-op. It's not, but we had from different companies. We had several different ones, and I'm sorry, this is very graphic, but the crunch of the snails was awful. We had big ones outside. And they would get a ton of snails in them, and I'd try to clean them, and I'm just crushing snails because I had no idea. You can't get them in and out of that filter. So
that's why I like them so much.
No, I don't care for them. I'm
gonna have to have a good amount of those in the garage, I think.
I would say the flow. Stop. The flow is so much better with those than the ones that we use. It's if you don't pay attention to these ones, which we have so many tanks, it could happen that it would stop the flow, and then like you could be in trouble. But compared to the coarse ones, but I don't see that big of a difference to me.
Back to me.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next thing would be plants. We are huge advocates of moss in the aquariums. It doesn't go into the substrate, and it is going to eat up any of the nitrates that are in the aquarium and ammonia and stuff like that. And as you're removing the moss, selling the moss, feeding it to your koi or whatever you do with it, you're taking out the pollution in the water, and then it's growing and keeping the water clean. And while you're doing that and removing it, you're not having to mess with the substrate at all. So I really like moss. It's the fastest grower that isn't going to sink roots into the substrate and mess with things. Floaters are great too. Plamsky had a bunch of salvinia. Duckweed is a massive hassle. He said he's been fighting it for 10 years. I said I finally got it out of the house until Shelby brought back in more fish into the house. So it's a struggle.
For which one?
Duckweed.
Oh, yeah.
That's your fault.
So it's a cyanobacteria.
It's all right. I join you in your battle. We'll fight it together. We'll get rid of it one day. It's just the salvinia is easier to maintain and control, but the moss, there's really nothing better than moss. You could even do riccia, the floating crystal moss, and I prefer that over duckweed for sure. And then with other plants like anubis, Java ferns, and boost and bulbitis. Those are all great ones also. Bulbitis and Java ferns might grow a little bit faster, but anubis and boost, they just grow so slow that they're not actually doing much in the ways of cleaning the water. So I do prefer the moss over that. You could do some we have some stems in the tops of these tanks right there. They're super slow growers. They need like CO2 to really thrive and do really well. But in shrimp tanks, they kind of just, hold on and hang in there, and they show a little bit of good coloration because of they're actually deprived. And, it's a nice little forest or a jungle for the shrimp to go back in there and have their babies. And like LRB might do as rock piles, but for us, as long as you have something in the aquarium, we have moss piles or clumps in all of the tanks, and the females feel comfortable enough to go into there. They have their babies. The babies have a bunch of little tiny microorganisms, tons of biofilm, and other things to eat and survive before they're big enough that they feel comfortable to walk around the aquarium and search for other foods. Hang in there, Shelby. We only got an hour and a half to go.
Chevy Fish said, is it still safe to use my Bacter AE that expired April of 2023?
So I don't want to say yes and then it kills all your shrimp, but like I would try it out first and just see, like, is it good in the cherry shrimp tank? And if it's fine in the cherry shrimp tank, then I would maybe use it for one of the other aquariums. But for me, I only use the Bacter AE when starting up the aquariums. So for sure, I would still use it for that purpose, with setting up a tank, getting it to cycle for 30 days, and using the Bacter AE. But like, I don't know, if it hasn't clumped up, it isn't moldy or anything like that, it's probably safe to use. I would just try it out in small amounts and remember that it does absorb oxygen. So if you don't have a lot of flow, a lot of bubbles in your aquarium, then you might not want to use it at all. What are you shaking your head for?
Someone's name's Car, and they put an emoji of a car.
Uh-huh.
It's just funny. Johnny said, what is your advice for shrimp tourmaline mineral balls?
We just kind of like think that they're a little bit of a waste of money. I didn't see any type of actual benefit from them. Like, they're still somewhere in the aquariums from our original ones. They just sink very slowly into the substrate till they hit the bottom, right? So they're in there, but man, we bought a couple tubes of different kind of brands, and I never saw any benefit of having them in the aquariums, other than the fact that they're more surface area for the shrimp to graze on and biofilm to grow on. They're just not anything worth the amount of money. I find that if you had a ton of them for a really good price and you made like a good rock pile with them, that'd be something cool. But like, or stack them like a pyramid where they do the golf balls for the real fancy golf courses at the driving range. But yeah, other than that, I didn't find a good use for them or benefit. A much better use of your money is getting the Shrimp Junkie mineral food or the mineral hearts.
Sorry, you said it wrong.
I don't know what I said.
Junkie mineral.
Well, what's a junkie?
Shrimp junkie.
It's a junkie one way or another, right?
Yeah, as long as you have a supplement of a mineral food, you don't need the mineral balls. So
we use the Shrimp Envy shell as well, and that's a great mineral food. But if you're having issues after that, then yeah, maybe try the mineral hearts or the extra shrimp mineral shrimp junkie mineral junkie food, right? Right, Shelby? Did I get it right that time? All right.
Richard said the brackish shrimp we collected for him are doing well in a 75-gallon native tank outside. That's pretty cool.
And they haven't eaten all your fish yet? They're just by themselves? I don't know. I feel like they're going to start murdering some fish.
Brian said, is there a list of medications that should be kept on hand at all times, like an emergency first aid kit?
So
make little shrimp bags. Shrimp emergency kit.
It's just going to be some crushed up aquachar, I think. I don't really have anything in the emergency kit. So
when I say crushed up aquachar, just aquachar.
Yeah, but like all right. So I'll give you a reason why you want the crushed up. If it's a dust, There's more surface area, so it's going to react faster and absorb whatever pollutant is in the water a lot quicker. So you don't want the big chunks when you're trying to act in an emergency. But like when we moved all of these shrimp from Plamski, there was 2 bags of shadow pandas that just had a ton more shrimp in it than the rest, and some red calcios, black calcios, and maybe some blue bolts or something like that. So there's a couple deaths in the bags and whatnot. And the only real thing that we had to add into the aquariums to help these guys out was Shrimp Fit, which is a shrimp food that has beta-glucan in it. And we used that, and it pretty much cleaned up the system, helped out with everything. There was one tank that still had some deaths, threw some aquachar in there. And then after that, there really isn't anything else you can do except for large water changes. So making sure you got the GH minerals on hand, have some RO water ready to go in case of an emergency. There's really no other medications out there that are going to help you out.
Unless you buy imported shrimp,
Yeah.
but which we advise against. But on that topic, I think it's like, what do they do? Like a hydrogen peroxide dip for some of it?
It depends on what it is. Some of them are salt baths, and you have to remove all the molts, the elo or the parasite, fungus, whatever you want to call it. There's like a bunch of different medications that you can go with. Nothing is foolproof and set in stone. Some people use Paragard, but yeah, we don't worry about that or have any issues here.
Bugsy Craftworks said, just picking up 3 10-gallon tanks. I'm interested in Caridina project. I'm not sure what to do. If you were going to start a project from scratch, what would it be?
Start a project from scratch right now in like today's hobby. I would do something orange-eyed. So I would get orange-eyed yellow King Kongs because they're just the hardiest, fastest breeding orange eyes that are out in the market. And then I would get another type of shrimp that you want to cross with it and try to figure out one of the phenotypes that's already on the market that doesn't have orange eye yet. There's almost everything. Like in some part of the world, now there's a Polish breeder that has orange-eyed pintos and orange-eyed steels that are like solid Taiwan B coloration to them. So now that that's there, it's pretty much like everything's out there. So it's just we don't have it here in the States. So creating that from scratch is what I would try to do myself personally.
Also, Richard, I see you just posted something about should orange-eyed blue tigers have blue bodies? So the higher grade ones will have darker blue. They range from like clear all the way up. But I think I saw yours were on white substrate if I'm correct. And if yours are on white, they will wash out quite a bit. So I wouldn't cull those unless you put them on darker substrate. So I would
what kind of shrimp?
The orange-eyed blue tigers.
Yeah, that's one of the Caridina shrimp that do wash out in lighter ones. Yeah.
Okay. And did you answer that question?
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think crystal shrimp, any crystal shrimp is pretty good because they're a solid choice for the aquarium, meaning red crystals, black crystals, which are you could get pure red lines, pure black lines, or pure white lines. Those are all solid choices.
The demand for them is always going to be high. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you just got to call
that one. That to me shouldn't be in the colony.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. And Dee Dee said, I once pulled a large coarse sponge, placed it in a bucket of tank water, watched it all day, got 30 baby 24Ks that were hidden in there. That makes me worried. I don't remember what shrimp pond I pulled it out of, but I hope I didn't kill any shrimp.
We didn't have them that coarse.
Yeah. It was only one of them. It was pretty bad. We don't have it anymore. I got rid of it. Back to you.
All right. So
I feel like it's in the news. Back to you, Grant.
We've got tank, lights, filter, Substrate, hardscape plants. I totally skipped over lid. We keep lids on all of our aquariums so we don't have to worry about evaporation. If you have some type of hardscape coming out of the aquarium or some type of filter that just makes it really hard for you to have a lid on the tank, uh, there's really no excuse with double polycarbonated panels. You can like cut that out of. Maybe you have a weird hexagon bow front tank or something like that. It's just better off for you to have a lid. If you can't, use RO water. Don't top off with already mineralized water, and you won't have any issues. So use the lid or RO water for top offs, and you'll be fine.
Chevy Fish said, what brand of and how often do you use fertilizer in Caridina tanks? Also, what shall the ending TDS be after fertilizer?
So we used to use the Thrive shrimp fertilizer. It's been ages since we used fertilizers, though. Once upon a time, I was trying to grow like a moss, an anubis, a sword, and a crypt, a different type in each one of our aquariums. And I was trying to like just grow each and every type of plant we possibly could. And I was just chasing fertilizers and all this kind of hard work and stuff like that. And nothing ever really came of it except for a lot of hair algae. And one day, I don't know why, but we totally kicked the bucket with all fertilizers and started doing 40% water changes. And all the moss just did so well that I never looked back. And we've been just running it no fertilizer at all in the house now for quite some time. I'm sure if we dedicated a tank to the fertilizer or to just plants, we'd definitely use fertilizers, but because we're trying to breed fish and shrimp, plants just aren't the priority. So we haven't used any. With the aqua soil, the plants get all of the nutrients that they need in our tanks. And I'm not like going to be upset that one of the plants isn't at its prime or looking its best or anything like that, because the shrimp are looking their best. But like how much TDS is going to alter is going to depend on the type of fertilizer. And I don't even remember what the Thrive fertilizer measurements gave us. I'm sorry.
Scuba said, what do you do if you get burned out with certain shrimp tanks? Been contemplating downsizing to 1 or 2 nano shrimp tanks.
I don't have that burnout issue simply because you got to have everything in my position. So like if I'm burnt out of something, it's not getting mistreated. It's still getting the same water changes because it's on the rack. It's still getting fed. And it's just that you got to keep them. I'm kind of trying to think of a shrimp that I'm burnt out on, and like maybe yellow King Kongs, but because there's the rillies in them, I'm really not. I don't know how to answer this, but like the conversation that Nick had with Dan or whatever, and he put it into his talk where you got to think of your aquariums, if you're trying to breed for profit, especially as like restaurant tables. And if you have a certain table that's taking up space, but it's not making any money, you got to switch up that table so that way it's making you more money. And if that's the case, then certain shrimp aren't going to sell very well as others. And nano tanks, the smaller, the less breeding you're going to get out of shrimp. So if it's just for pure enjoyment, just stick with what you want, or just do a bunch of shrimp in that one tank.
That's what I was saying. I was kind of thinking if you're kind of just not wanting to do it, just have some fun with the small nanos and just kind of mix them. If you don't plan on wanting to like make money out of it, or sell what you don't want anymore and keep your favorites. And then Dr. Anthony joined us. It's glad to see you back. Hope you're doing okay. And then Chad said, Grant, opinion on Plamsky's cure. It saved a galaxy colony, and I'm a huge believer now.
So I've never even used it. I have no idea what the cure is. Somebody else had mentioned it on one of my posts. Maybe it was you. And I'm probably gonna have to ask Plamsky about it. But like, there's one thing that I like, and it's supporting other hobbyists. And we've stumbled across the Bloomfields and Shrimp Envy for our shrimp foods, and it's been a really big thing. And I've always wanted to incorporate Plamsky into our stock on the website as well, and we just haven't been able to get around to it. We don't really have the space. We don't have like shelves for all of our stock. It's just in bins underneath our bed right now. So we're like very picky on what is being held down. But like Plamsky's is now part of our operation. We have all of his lines, and it just makes a lot of sense to start selling his products. So we're gonna figure out a way, and he's going to reach out to us in a little bit, and we're gonna start carrying his line of hard goods on our dry goods on our website as well. So I'll have to figure out about the cure soon enough.
Root Weaver said, excited to get a Caridina rack going at the new pad. Hopefully the move goes smooth for you.
Yeah, dude. Happy to see you here. Happy to see that go through. Really looking forward and excited to seeing that. And, let us know if you need any help.
The most Debbie Downers this week. So excited for you.
She's yelling at me to put on sunscreen while we're watching my cousin's soccer game. And she's the one that gets blistered and, not blistered, but lobstered.
Badly. I definitely got real sick from it. And I was yelling at him because him and his family, the family we went to saw were also gingers. And I was trying to get them to be on my side to get him to not burn. And they were like giving me the sunscreen because they're always prepared. And I'm the one who ends up getting super sick and super red and still feeling it today. This is the second time in a week. So not good. Toop Dog gifted Tim Garden of Eden memberships. Thank you so much, Toop Dog.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Hopefully you got all the shrimp today. We shipped those out last Saturday, I think, for you. So.
Yeah, he said that. Thank you.
Wow,
they all came in good. That was at the beginning of this stream. I forgot to say something to you.
It's all right. It's all right. At least my brain is there. I know you got shrimp.
Yes, thank you. And if you did get gifted a lovely membership from Toop Dog, remember that you have to email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com to get your member-only sticker. This only goes to members, and you also get a discount code to our website. So you can email us for that. We'll send out your sticker and your
10% discount code to our website, tgoeshrimp.com. While we're talking about the website, I don't have Plamsky's shrimp on the website yet. Some of his shrimp line up with shrimp that we already have. So those are already posted on the site. But if you would like a list before they are offered to the masses on the website, then you can reach out to us also at thegardenofeater@gmail.com. And I can send you a complete list of all the shrimp that Plamsky, all the Plamsky shrimp lines that we have to offer now. So, back to me.
Yes, I am behind on sending out stickers. So if you haven't got an email back, chances are I have not sent out your sticker.
Just feel free to email us with another email under that email that says just a reminder, and we'll make sure we get that out to you. We are caught up on all of our orders, and it's just a little breather now after the holiday, after Nick came by, after the insurance, after the state fair, after all the shows that we did. We do have a show in 3 weeks, but and like another show right after that. But like we are going to be working on some new fluval tanks. So we're not going to be the first ones to see them. I know Aqua Design Group in Dallas already got these tanks. But We're getting some brand new fluval tanks. I heard there's going to be a new filter from Fluval, and really excited to see all of that at Global. So we'll post some like teasers where we'll take a photo of what we do with the tanks, and then we'll have to blur it all out until Global, and then we can unblur it once Global is open. So gonna have a lot of fun with that. We're doing 7 aquariums for that show, and we get a little vacation hotel stay in
8
Orlando.
aquariums.
What, 8?
Yeah, you forgot Carib Sea.
Oh yeah, well 7 for Fluval, 1 for Carib Sea, and yeah, looking forward to shows again because it has been some time off, and I feel like it's better when we have a show to look forward to.
Yeah, especially some of the ones where we just get to escape and kind of enjoy the show and not have to work a booth. That's a little bit more like weaning our way back into the shows because it's been a little off lately. So
We got to make an order at the nursery.
Mhm.
That's going to be crazy. Haven't done a nursery order in so long.
Nathan said, "Is there a TDS that's too high for Neos?"
I wouldn't say there's a TDS that's too high for the Neo Caridina. Like, why would you have water in the thousands? But like, water in the thousands should be fine. So, I don't know what games you're trying to play, Nathan, but a high TDS should be all right.
Back to you.
All right. So now we have the tank, lights, filter, lid, substrate, hardscape, plants. The only other thing that you need in the tank is water, but water is going to be the most important. So for Caridina shrimp, you have to start out with RO water. Yes, there's an exception with tiger shrimp, but I'm not talking about that right now. All right. I was going downhill fast. Throat was clearing. So with RO water, you have absolutely a clean slate. There's no minerals, no heavy metals, no chemicals in the water, and you have 0 TDS. If you have 3 TDS or 5 TDS, it's still probably going to be all right. Some filters aren't going to be able to clean your water out all the way down to 0. You can get extra stages to do that, but it's not always needed. I kind of let our filters go up into like the 5, sometimes 8 TDS if I'm being really lazy, just because I know that there's still like less than 1/10 of a KH in the water, and that's not going to fight the pH or anything like that, cause any issues. So you want your water as low as TDS as possible before you start mixing your minerals, and then you have to mix your minerals with GH only, no KH, because if there's any KH in the water, that is going to neutralize your water and basically exhaust all your substrate before its lifespan should have been up in the first place. And you want, your TDS to be right around 150. There are some Caridina breeders in Asia that breed them at 90 to 110 to 130 TDS. And I just don't find any good results at anything lower than 130. And then the higher we go up into 160, the better results we get for most of our shrimp. And then with some of the super crystals, the calcios, and the tiger shrimp, especially at 220 TDS, that seems to be optimal for those guys. But I have heard breeders going all the way up to 280 TDS. Now, for the most part, with GH to TDS ratio, I find that for every 30 TDS, we get around 1 GH. So with 160 to 180 TDS, we get about 6 GH. And that's what I find is prime and best for the entire house. We keep our entire house around those parameters, so that way it's easy to keep everything nice, crisp, clean, stable. All of Plamsky's shrimp that were in the higher 220 TDS, we did take care of those tanks and raise those up. There's not that many of them, so it's easy enough for me to go through and slowly lower his levels down to 160 where all of our other tanks are kept at. And I used to do like 150 TDS as our like main goal when I mixed up the salts in the trash cans before we add them into the tanks. But now I'm kind of aiming for 160 with seeing some of Plamsky's tanks and some of the results that he's getting. The only benefit I find to using less TDS is that you don't use as much salt. And honestly, we're buying the salts in the 3,000 gram containers, and it's really not, it's pennies on the dollar at that point for raising up the TDS to 10 more. So
Tube Dog said off topic, but pollen season, do you have any problem with them in your tubs outside?
If anything, pollen is just going to be like baby shrimp food powder for the tanks. I wouldn't have any issues with it falling into our aquariums. We've got this one tree up here that dumps a ton of pollen, and it's never been an issue with any of our tanks or ponds outside.
Most of our ponds are covered, though. If you do have something that's dropping a ton of stuff into your pond and you don't like it, I would just try to find a way to cover it with like a little
Screen mesh.
screen, sail, blanket, something if you don't like that during that season. Usually they'll still let light through. QJF said, what's your thoughts? So if all Neo shrimps come from cherry shrimps, how do we explain Bloody Mary from chocolates and blue diamonds from black rose, or chocolates and then blue dreams from cherry?
So by looking at them, you can't tell the difference. But by breeding them out, there's definitely going to be signs that are going to tell you from one or another. We have great examples of the blue diamonds versus blue dream videos, the green emerald versus green jade videos. And one of the next videos that we're going to have coming out is Bloody Marys versus red cherries. But like, if you're trying to tell the difference between one another, it really doesn't matter.
No, that's not what he's trying to ask.
Oh, wait.
What he's asking is that if all Neos are supposedly from cherry shrimps, how do we have this many lines?
So,
like, if they're all from one shrimp, then how are they not still red cherry?
So by selective breeding, you it's not all from just cherries, I believe. Some of them are selective bred from wilds to go red. Some of them are selective bred for blue. Some of them for brown, black, and so on. The charts and stuff like that are out there are not exactly legitimate and true, but overall, they're selective bred for different colorations and different traits. And then the problem is, like, red cherries were bred out, and then they start crossing them with blues, and then they get these browns, and then the browns started throwing all the other colors. So that's why there's multiple different varieties of the same color.
And it said, and yellows seem to be different than all the others.
Yeah, but like there is Palmata and Davii and different types of wild type Neocaridina. So
someone definitely wishes they could go back in time and document all of this from people importing shrimp from different places and probably figure that out. But I don't think anyone's going to ever be able to, because it happened, I mean, probably 15 plus years now, 20 plus years that they imported these. And I don't think people were keeping record of shrimp. I just think that it happened, and then certain ones came out, and then they were like, oh, let me try it with this one. And they tried different wilds and did different things.
But like
we'll get that secure answer.
We have the wild Keegan Neocaridina, and they throw reds, they throw browns, they throw blue colorations, but they're all wild types. And then the I don't know. I had something else I wanted to say entirely, and I can't think about it. I forgot altogether. Next question.
It's back to you.
Back to me. Man, it's going to bother me.
Richard is still not got a membership sticker. He's been to the house several times.
What?
I usually have them in the car, too, when we go to the meetings, because there's people that will go to the Pasco meeting, and they'll be members, and I usually have a sticker, but no one ever asks me. It's so funny. I think some of them have like actually warped from the sun being in there so long. And then Jeff Kane, member for 21 months. Thank you so much. Just tell me the membership thingy is off cooldown. 3 months to go for the 2 years. That's crazy. I can't believe it's going this fast though. And then, Stephen P says, "Are you still coming to Baton Rouge in July?" That is the plan. I want to make it at least to Louisiana to see you guys this year for sure. So that is definitely. Can you write that down before we forget to? Why do you have my hair tie on that pen?
I don't know where it came from.
Baton Rouge in July. I think it's already on the calendar.
Yeah, that's when I'm talking. That's during Layla's birthday that she agreed that we could go do that.
So that's already 100%.
That's 100%.
It's funny because they asked us last year. We were like, ooh, like literally, like right when it was announced, and we were like, oh, that's on our daughter's birthday. That's up to her. So, and she was all for it. So
yeah. She likes to travel, and the fact that she gets to come with us, she's like, and I get to go, and I'm like, yeah, and then she's like, then yep, let's go. So, but back to the past question, I remembered what it was. We'll never know the exact, DNA and stuff like that, and what crossing or whatever went into certain lines of the shrimp, until we do DNA testing. Like DNA testing could answer a lot of these questions for us, but it's like really expensive still, I think, to do DNA testing to figure it out. And you would also need like DNA samples from wild specimens of the initial habitat. So we would have to make sure that those habitats aren't lost entirely at the same time.
Yeah. It's back to you.
Back to me?
Sorry. Brandon said blur it out for sexy content, ? No, it's for content of products that aren't available yet. So we're not allowed to release them. So it's kind of blurring it out to give you suspense until we're able to release them so you can see them. They will be new products. That's what Global is about, is usually all the new products and new things that they're trying to pitch to stores in order to sell. Like, it is actually pretty cool because Global will have like a whole section that it's like no photography or anything allowed, because it's like all new ideas or things that they're trying to get like help to make the product. That it's like super neat. Like reptiles usually like have the coolest stuff every year to me. I think they had a couple cool aquatic things last year, and then they have a whole like section for cats, dogs, and birds. But anyways, back to the content. Sorry.
So we went over what kind of tanks, setup, water, etc. Now we'll go over the different types of Caridina shrimp. The basic, the classic, the gateway drug of the shrimp keeping hobby is going to be the crystal shrimp, the candy cane, the red crystal shrimp, basically overall. But the blacks, the pure red lines, pure white lines, snow whites, golden bees, these are all crystal shrimps. They're all fairly easy to take care of with the same setup that I recommended during this talk. And I highly recommend them as a beginner shrimp for people just looking to get started. They are a little bit more forgiving when it comes to having the lower pH. You can get away with like 6.3, 6.4 and still have a pretty high baby survival rate. Then you have the tiger shrimp. Tigers are going to be, a little bit more durable. They can go in a little bit higher pH and even survive and breed in Neocaridina parameters. However, with the tiger shrimp, I do find that they breed a lot better in the Caridina parameters. So we keep all of our tiger shrimp in the Caridina tanks, and that's the only way that we're able to maintain and keep the demand for them going. Otherwise, we'd sell out of these things constantly. And we also like to bring these to shows because there's always like the common person that wants to, keep multiple different colors shrimp, and they don't want to, cull and have to worry about the Neocaridina Skittles and keeping tigers with your Neocaridina. is going to be your best bet. You've got raccoons and stardust that haven't been proven to breed with any other shrimp yet. So you could really do like a mosh pit of different aquariums and a different shrimp in that same aquarium and not get crossbreeding. So that's really cool. And then you have Taiwan bees, which is like a double thicker pattern coloration of a crystal shrimp. And, they do need the lower pH, but you can cross a crystal shrimp with a Taiwan bee and get Michelins. And you can start out with those. And the Michelins are heterozygous for Taiwan bee. So they're going to look exactly like a crystal shrimp. But if you have the babies crossbreed with one another, or you had those shrimp crossbreed with one another, because they're both heterozygous for Taiwan bee, some of the babies can come out as Taiwan bees, and they would be pure Taiwan bees too. So if you have the low enough pH and you're getting Taiwan bee babies, you can be comfortable enough to do the Caridina shrimp, like the boas, the more expensive pintos, and stuff like that, because they're just as easy to breed as the Taiwan bees. Then you got Thai bees, which are a hybrid tiger with a bee shrimp. And then you got Thai bees, which are a Thai bee crossed back with Taiwan bee to get the double thick pigment. That's about it. That's all your varieties of shrimp. You got the orange eyes, the recessive trait there to play into effect, but it's a tiger gene, and then you can throw it on Thai bees or Thai bees as well.
Cassius said, I'm having the same issue with hair algae after trying feeds. I used my high-tech tank in some of my shrimp tanks. Did you do specific besides water change to help?
So there is nothing that we do in our aquariums besides water changes to help with algae. You can reduce the amount of light that the tanks get, raise the lights, use a lower tech light, or just simply, instead of running it for 12 hours, run it for 10 or 8 hours. Then the other thing is feeding. If you're overfeeding, this is going to cause algae issues as well. But there's a difference between hair algae and Cladophora, and knowing that is going to make a world of a difference. So one night I would like to do an entire live stream on just Cladophora and go over this, because it's been like one of the biggest things and the biggest struggles and problems with keeping plants and buying new plants and stuff like that, because Cladophora is like hair algae on steroids, where hair algae, when you grab it out of a tank, it's kind of slimy and it's very weak. It doesn't have a lot of structural support. Like, you don't think you could use it to weave anything or make rope, right? And you're able to kill hair algae fairly easy by just reducing the amount of food that you're feeding and doing more water changes, even without touching the lights. However, Cladophora isn't going to go away so easy. If you grab what you thought was hair algae and it's not slimy, like Cladophora is still slimy, but like hair algae feels like you're picking up like a siren or a newt or some type of slug, where Cladophora kind of feels like you're picking up just wet strands of cotton. And it's very, sturdy. It's harder to rip off, and it grows differently in different conditions, in different light and different flow. It grows differently off of different materials. It grows, way different above water than underwater. And yeah, it can grow immersed as well. And it's a huge problem, because if it's dying and dies off, it can throw spores into the air and can get into all the other tanks. So having lids is another benefit, because Cladophora spores can't get into your water. And if you live in a state where there's a lot of bodies of water nearby or something like that, Cladophora could be in the air that you're breathing regardless, just like seed shrimp. They're going to be in the air, and it's going to be something that you might have to deal with. So the only way that I've found to get rid of Cladophora is adding this product called Razor from Brightwell. It's a liquid, and it goes into the tank. and it completely wipes out almost all algae. It takes a couple of doses to kill off the Cladophora, but it also kills shrimp. So you need to remove any shrimp out of the aquarium. If there's not a lot of high flow or oxygenation going on in the tank, take out the fish as well. Kill the algae. Once the algae is gone, do a massive water change, and then you can add everything back in the tank. Otherwise, you are going to fight Cladophora to the end of time. Like, it is not going to go away any other way. I found like hydrogen peroxide will kill it off temporarily, but then it comes back. Like, I don't know if the spores in the water don't get killed off by the hydrogen peroxide or what, but it is just one of the gnarliest things that I've ever seen in aquariums. Period. Like, as hard as anything to get rid of. So.
I have a question outside. Asha said, I'm excited for y'all to be coming to Aquamania in March. Super excited for that one. And I'm excited to watch you skate.
So
that'd be cool.
There is Aquamania in March. We already announced that we were going to that. We also announced that we were going to Aquafest, but we don't know if we're going to Aquafest anymore because we were told that they already have enough shrimp and plant vendors, and we sent them a message saying, well, we have plenty of fish and snails and PNW tanks and accessories that we're fine. We don't need to sell off any shrimp or plants, and we'd still like to go. Mainly because we were looking forward to seeing Stephen P. and Jenna P. and hanging out, Mississippi Hippie and Jess and a couple other people, Eric and whatnot, go down to that show. We were looking forward to meeting Toot Dog in person, and we were just looking for a nice trip. Last year it was kind of like a flop with the festival, and downtown New Orleans just wasn't a place where we should take Shelby for her first time going down there. So I was looking for redemption going back this time. But as of right now, it looks like we won't be going to Aquafest. But have no fear. If you would like something from us at Aquafest, we'll still have our products there. Like, they can't stop us.
Stephen P. Meanwhile, they have about 300 coral vendors.
Yeah, so they said that they were limiting certain style or types of corals. Like, if you sell just polyps, they were only letting 2 or 3 vendors that sell just polyps. But it's like crazy because we did well enough last year that they could have had more shrimp vendors, honestly, and are doing less. So it just seems like the other shrimp vendors are pretty greedy.
I'm excited. Chevy said, are there any fish that you would keep Caridina with?
If I was looking to breed them, absolutely no fish. But pygmy cories, the celestial pearl danios, they could work their way into an aquascape with some like red steels or yellow king kongs, I'm sure, and I wouldn't worry about breeding that much in that tank.
Are the gallons of distilled water sold in the store safe for Caridina?
So this is actually one of the videos that we want to do. I'm sure it depends on the brand, but also like it depends on the brand source of where they're getting that water, because the I don't know, so-and-so brand at my Walmart might be sourcing it from spring water out of Florida, but the so-and-so brand from Walmart in California might be sourcing it from water in Oregon, and it might have totally different TDS, pH, etc. So that might be like a series that we just do on the road, and we test our distilled brands and just different water that you could use from the stores.
We're gonna look crazy just buying
future.
distilled water, coming home with 16 different jugs from the next Colorado trip.
But it should be, if you test it and you have a TDS pen and the TDS is lower than 5, I would use it.
So there was something, if you Google distilled water, there's something in distilled water that you still need to remove for it to be fish and shrimp safe. I can't remember if there's still chlorine or something in it, that you might have to use prime. But I remember someone asking this. If I can figure it out, I'll let you know by the end of the stream. Malcolm said, by wild types, do you mean that they won't breed true?
I don't know where you took this out of context in our conversations to answer this. I'm sorry, Malcolm. Do you, Shelby?
I think you were talking wild types as in when they originally started crossbreeding or selective breeding certain colors. But in no way do wild types mean that they won't breed true, because wild is just it's a term called for a clear shrimp with stripes. Now, if you're talking about Caridina, that's a whole different story. There's wild types that are mainly will just breed true to their own, and they don't mix with any other shrimp. So it's a difference between Neo-Caridina wild types and Caridina wild types, and even Sulawesi wild types. So
it depends on the type of shrimp, basically.
Yeah. So Stephen P said we could just throw his member loot in the box whenever Tuna makes her mind up on shrimp. QJF asked what the palmetta shrimp are.
The palmata.
Mm-hmm.
So the palmata should be like you're honestly talking to the wrong person here. I don't care enough about this to want to learn it. So I've got general knowledge on this that you could just Google and get the exact answer. But palmatas should be the snowballs and blue jellies, where the Davii is going to be your red cherries, your green jades, your yellow 24 carats. There's also another one that starts with a Z, I believe, too. So I don't
know. Johnny Best said, my first time going Caridina shrimp keeping, and 3 months, and my black Tybee's going strong, plus 2 mixed red pintos also. Thanks for your info and knowledge.
I'm glad to hear that. You're welcome, and thanks for joining us and all your support. See you around all the time. Thank you, John.
Nate said, any progress on the sticker that looks like the logo top right that can be put on our tanks? I guess I could make them like that.
So no, we do. We're going to come out with a sticker that's non-holographic, like this one, that will be very similar to our old stickers. And then we'll come out with a couple of different varieties of stickers here very soon. We need to make stickers before the next show, so they'll probably be those variety stickers.
Tube Dog said, which spectrum of LED lights promote algae?
I don't know that answer. I'm sorry.
Scotty said, bring back the COVID mask. Gotta protect from Cladophora and seed shrimp.
No.
Frank said, can you speak more about shrimp fit?
So shrimp fit's just a powdered food that has beta-glucan in it. Beta-glucan is just simply an immunity booster for shrimp. So when you're moving shrimp from one tank to another, when they go through shipping, or if there was something into the tank that caused the cycle to crash, or the flea meds or something like that got into the tank, the shrimp fit in very small amounts. Like the spoon that it comes with is not the amount that you should use. Just sprinkle a light dusting across the surface of the aquarium and let the bubbles kind of break it up, and it'll fall down and feed all the shrimp and get into all the little nooks and crannies. And that should grow biofilm on top of, not polluting the water or anything like that. So I don't even think we still have it available on the website right now. We need to go and reorder and restock. The only problem is that sold out way faster than everything else did. And it takes quite a long time for the order to come in from Germany. So we'll probably just do a small order for shrimp fit and Bacter AE and figure out another product to carry and bring that in as well. But basically we don't feed it all the time. We just used it for the big move for Plamsky shrimp. And then I also had used it not that long ago in one of the tanks that we were having no babies in the Hummel shrimp tank, and I dosed some shrimp, some shrimp fit. Is that what it's called? I'm spacing. And like in
Yes,
3 days
shrimp
later,
fit.
we have 2 buried Hummels in the tank. So I don't know if that was the exact cause or just this time of the year they started up again. So
Tube Dog said, okay, so Baton Rouge it is. Stephen P said, yep. It's closer to Stephen P and Jenna P, so if anyone wants to see them too, that's a good show, you know. Johnny Beth said, Grant, refresh my memories what Caridina shrimp would be considered tap water types.
So it honestly depends on your tap water too, because some people's tap water is going to be extremely hard and isn't going to be recommended for any of the shrimp, tiger shrimp. But some examples of the tiger shrimp, the best one would be tangerine tigers. Orange eye blue tigers are okay, but they're a little bit more sensitive. Stardust raccoons are both super hardy and can take the widest range of parameters as well as tangerines. Auroras, red tigers, super tigers. These are all going to be good ones to do in the harder water as well.
Trying to read.
It's okay. We did hit 9K subs. Do you want to do the giveaway?
Yeah. I just pull it up.
You started to, and then you stopped. So I was like,
I looked at it. I was
what
like,
is going
this?
on here?
I forgot what I was doing. Real spacey tonight. Just so you can talk about it.
All right. So thank you, Sam Scales, for sending us a bunch of extra prints to give out on our live streams here. But we have this nice Endler. Not exactly sure what kind of Endler it is, but
looks like a black bar. Could be an orchid.
I think you're right with the black bar, but I think our black bars have green to them. I don't see any green, so that's the only reason why I didn't say black bar. I don't know, but it is a beautiful. I don't know if you're able even to see it from back there. So yeah, now you are. That is the print that we are giving away. What is the hashtag, Shelby?
Hashtag scales.
And that is SCALZ hashtag. So we'll be giving that away here in just a little bit. And let's try and get caught up on some questions.
Nathan, thank you for becoming a YouTube member again.
Appreciate it.
You did it. You did it before the end of the stream, like you said. What day are you talking at the IBC?
I have no idea what the schedule is, honestly. One show at a time, please, Tube Dog. I got to get through the Aquamania, and we have Global. And that's the only real concern I have other than the shrimp contest. Shelby did update all of the information for the shrimp contest this weekend. So hopefully John at Aquashella will be updating the website and posting that all up, and registration should be open for the shrimp here soon.
Cassia said, is there any reason for me to use my RO water on Neos beside lowering TDS if my tap is at 250 TDS?
Even at 250 TDS, I wouldn't use RO water to lower it. So no, the only real benefit to using RO water is if your water treatment center is constantly having issues with their water. If you live in Flint, yeah, let's use an RO unit. But
they still have a water problem.
I believe so, unless Elon's stuff came through. I think he donated a bunch of filtration, but I don't know if all of Flint got it or just the schools. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, if your water treatment plant is 80 TDS 1 month and 150 TDS the next month and then 800 TDS another month, then yeah, you're going to want to use RO water. But Ours here at the house is pretty much 170 all year round. I did learn recently, though, that if your water treatment facility runs out of water, they can purchase water from another nearby reserve. So you definitely want to keep an eye and test your TDS before you do your water changes with tap water.
I would also say that we do take our tanks to the Florida State Fair, and it jumps up quite a bit at like 700 to 800 TDS, and our shrimp absolutely love the extra minerals.
We got buried yellows, buried blues,
250 is
buried
perfect
reds.
for neos. I would not try to lower the TDS. I would actually keep it at 250. I would prefer if our tap water had a little bit more minerals for our neos. I think they would actually do a little bit better. They seem to thrive in more higher TDS because you got more minerals for them. I don't know what it is about neos, but they absolutely do much better. Is shrimp substrate a must for Caridina?
Yeah, it absolutely is. You can use the peat moss and the chemicals, but in the end, you're going to spend more money on the peat moss, more time, more energy on both the peat moss and the chemicals than you would the substrate. And the substrate is just going to maintain that low pH consistently and stable. And I would never try to do any serious Caridina breeding without it. Maybe one day I'll try to just breed some crystal shrimp or something like that in Neocaridina parameters again, but they go so slow. It's almost like that restaurant thing where you're worrying about so much space and so many tanks. It's like a waste of tank for us to just have tangerine tigers in a tap water situation. I'm pretty sure they're going to get the eviction notice here soon.
For who?
The tangerine tigers in tap water. We sold 20 of them last year. They all went to Crypt Keeper out of a whole year of breeding.
Are you talking about the ones in the garage?
No, the one's up here above the Solasa.
Oh, okay. Dee Dee said, guess who sponsored Shelby at the Clash? And if you don't know, lovely Dee Dee sponsored me at the Clash. Thank you so much, Dee Dee. You are a saint.
We appreciate everything you do here, Dee Dee. And sorry it took me so long to get back to you. I got your order, and we will be able to take care of that for you. Absolutely.
And she's getting her membership stuff in that box.
Okay.
Absolutely cannot forget that. And then Scotty says, now we need someone to sponsor Grant.
I thought Sabu sponsored me. Maybe he sponsored our dual talk together.
I have no idea. I haven't kept up with anything on the phone. Ashley said, if my tap water is around 30 TDS, zero ammonium nitrate, why can't I say those words differently? GH and KH, should I still use RO water for Caridina, or which ones besides Tangerine Tigers do you recommend for those parameters? That is super low. You have no KH?
Yeah, you absolutely have to add some type of mineral into your water here. So
what is causing the 30 TDS? Is that if everything else is zero?
No, so the thing is you might have a 0.4 GH and a 0.4 KH, and together those are reading at 30 TDS. You know what I mean? But because they're 0.4, it's still low enough to be rounded down to zero and not show up. But this is really good tap water. Just run through a filtration cheap. You can do an RO buddy, a $50 RO unit, and get zero TDS out of this, and then just mix your own water, and you could do anything at that point, and just buy your GH minerals or your KH minerals, and it depends on what substrate you use after that. We were talking about something else, and I was going to make a point to that, but I forgot.
I don't know. Ron said, have you noticed shrimp to breed less during the colder months?
Yeah, especially outside. That's a no-brainer. The cooler temperature, the slower that they'll breed. For us in the winter, we don't run the heat, so at night our nighttime temperatures do drop into like the 60s in the house, and then in the summer that never happens, right? So overall in the summertime, I would say it's like a 3 or 4 degrees Fahrenheit average, a little bit warmer in the house. So I do think that there is a little bit more breeding going on, but as long as you're doing bigger water changes and feeding more during the winter months, the shrimps will breed just as much. Just instead of holding on to the eggs for 30 days, they might hold on to the eggs for 35 or 40 before the eggs hatch.
I'm not here. I'm so
It's okay.
sorry. Sibley said, is there any way to prevent the brown algae on glass? I know we love the green walls, but not brown. I just end up scraping it off.
I prefer brown over green myself. So if you're scraping off, the brown algae is way more beneficial.
It is, but it's gross looking.
I don't mind it. So to me, it's all about what's most beneficial for the actual shrimp themselves. And if you don't like the walls being green or brown, reduce the amount of light that's being penetrated through them. When we have lights going across the tanks like this, on this tank right here, you've got light coming in from this direction, from this tank, as well from this direction, from that tank as well. So it's hitting both sides of the glass, and you're getting a light exposure. So you're getting algae that's growing from both sides, basically. So it's super strong and healthy, and lots of little microorganisms and biofilm grow on that, and it's a good food source for the shrimp. So we just scrape the fronts of the tanks and whatever colors the front or the sides and the backs get. I don't really care.
So Sabu did sponsor Grant, but Shelby has 3 sponsors, so Grant needs 1 more. The other Grant sponsored you as well. I was like confused. Like I was like, how did Grant sponsor himself?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Maybe Keith can sponsor me, and then every time I say I'll take like a shot or something like that. Make it fun for him.
Nate said, if you bail on tap water tangerine tigers, maybe we can work something out. I can put them in mine in the Neo parameters.
There's really not that many there, Nate. So
Yeah.
like I'd be happy to send them your way.
There is plenty of tangerine tigers. We are fully packed right now.
Yeah. I wanted to put them on sale, but then Shelby looked at me and she's like, "No,
never.
Not on sale." Because as soon as they go on sale,
those are mine. They'll be gone.
We go from having tons of them to they're out of stock.
I'd rather slowly sell them than to sell out of them like every time. It's just crazy. Zach said, I did an unboxing video on the package with the banana leaves. I was packing on my new channel, Nessie Nets. We're going to have to watch that. Right down there.
I'm writing it down.
I had to show off Shelby's awesome packing skills and y'all's great products. I got to watch this. I got to watch how you unfold it.
Did you do a lot of newspaper too?
Yeah, and then like
so we use a lot of.
I had to compact the like banana leaves, and I folded them up as if I was wrapping.
Oh, nice.
The shrimp. It was great. I can't wait to watch that video. We'll watch that tonight.
So we use a lot of newspaper, but like if I know somebody's gonna do an unboxing video of it, I like really like make sure I use extra newspapers. So it's like, what is going on? How is there? It's still going. Like,
yeah. I like the time lapse on those ones, but the one we had one time where someone did do one, and we didn't know they were going to do an unboxing. We just they happened to get like 1 bag of shrimp. So when we have 1 bag of shrimp in like the colder months, we will wrap that thing till it fits the box. So this person was like, it was so cringy, like how long it took them to unwrap it, and they were like getting like really stressed out.
And then at one point they go, "We're halfway, we're almost there. I can feel it." And then we both looked at each other, and they're like halfway.
Oh no, it was hilarious. I was very happy that they did one, but like they probably lost like half their audience because they probably thought it was just like a replay of like it's never gonna open. They're never gonna get to their shrimp, and you're making me watch for 20 minutes to get to no shrimp at all. Christy said, "Are the tangerine tigers the ones that won't breed with neos?"
Correct. They cannot crossbreed with the Neocaridina. So if you're one of those odd people that likes the color orange, you can keep orange and blue and whatever colors together of Neocaridina.
Like
it's just the least favorite popular color of all colors.
I would say that. And the only people that I have seen that like the color orange have tend to be a little crazy. They're great in their own way, but they're a little crazy.
I have one buddy whose fiance, his favorite color was orange, and I was like, dude, that's enough red flag. Like, there's 50 other red flags, but like, enough.
I love orange. It's a pretty color in its own way. Like, I wouldn't say it's the best color, but man, there's days where I think orange is like just outstanding. Like the sunset, like obviously if you pick certain things that have color orange, but yeah, it's not like everyone's typical favorite because it's so bold.
I said that, and then I see the next
Scotty
comment
said,
is I love orange.
Scotty said, "Did you just call me crazy?"
Oh, is your favorite color orange, Scotty? Sorry.
It's funny because like the other person, you would never like outwardly think that they're crazy, but they were like kind of like a little off, you know. It's great. Oh, I see Catahole is orange is gray. Never mind. Like, oh, it's the same with yellow too. Like yellow is such a beautiful color. Like, you know, when you think of flowers, but like in general, it's just like you paint your walls that bright yellow. Like it's gonna give you a headache, you know. But
it's better than orange, I
love
guess,
tangerine
but
tigers.
It's still not a great color. But I love my yellow 24 karat Neocaridinas. Maybe a little bit more than the reds and whatnot, but the greens and the blues, they're just not better than that. There's nothing that beats green and blue.
See, I feel like in shrimp, I feel like the orange and the yellows are just so much more sought out for. I think they're so much cooler looking. But like, I wouldn't say that they're my favorite color. Abstract said, "Dang, I just got insulted." Ashley, I'm not a fan of yellow in a lot of things, but the yellow shrimps look great in scapes. Yeah, see, like there's just
pop.
Colors have their own way of always being your favorite color for this. Like I would not want I wouldn't want a green sky. I would absolutely, that would make me nauseous as can be, you know, like you want the blue sky, green grass. I don't think I would want like purple grass.
Water pollution into our water, we'll end up with a green sky.
That's crazy. You over here trying to pollute the water. I love the color green.
I prefer my crystal blue water though. Are we all caught up in chat? Because that's what's happened. Oh man,
I'm also trying to read it at the same time.
Oh, okay. You should bring them up and read them out loud.
Johnny said, "I bought your orange neocols and they take forever to breed." See, it all depends on your water parameters because we've had a couple people that have a crazy amount of orange. So
I threw 2 orange neos into the Solacea tank inside, though. We'll see what happens.
Ashley said, "Weird fact, Travis is colorblind and the sky to him is green and the grass is more of a blue color. It's wild." That sounds awful. But probably used to it because he grew up with that. But like I can imagine losing like becoming colorblind. How crazy would that? I'm so glad that's not a thing. I hope that's not a thing. Oh gosh. Like you look at the sun too long and you could become colorblind, that'd be crazy. But like that would make people nauseous if everything started changing colors like that.
The amount of people that are colorblind just like blows my mind. Both Nick and Harlan, the 2 Australians that came by, were both colorblind. So like we're talking about all these shrimp and all these fish at Lucas's. They're like, "Yeah, I have no color with this." I'm like, "Oh my god."
Sibley said, "I ordered some yellow King Kongs. Can a nice tank of those pop like a nice yellow Neo tank? I'm excited to get them. Just building this rack and cycling tanks after."
Yeah, if anything, the yellow King Kongs look almost identical to the yellow Neocardinas when they're fully matured. Like both of them will look like one another. Yeah, the Neos have like a little bit more roundish body in the middle or whatever, but with the yellow King Kongs, they do have like no coloration at first and then just blossom into their full color. The yellow Neos are pretty much yellow at birth.
I didn't like yellow King Kongs at first because, like, I just think of yellow Neos. Why do you need yellow King Kongs? But a full tank of yellow King Kongs, I always caught my attention in the bedroom. I was like, oh, what's in that tank? And I'm like, oh, yellow King Kongs.
When they first came out, I was like, I feel like people are getting ripped off. I was like so skeptical. I was like, there's no way this is a different kind of shrimp than yellow Neo. Sure enough.
Nathan said, my dream shrimp tank is yellow and blue as long as they don't mix. Y'all told me what blue to get as I have yellow Neos already, but I forgot.
See, like you could do Aurora Blue Tigers or Orange Eye Blue Tigers, but like you really messed up. You should have gone for like Blue Dreams or Blue Diamonds first and then done Yellow King Kongs. And you would have gotten like a way nicer yellow and a way nicer blue out of that combination, I feel.
Stephen P. said, I think if you look at the sun too long, you become blind. Johnny said, I have some yellow lines from LRB and they made some green lines.
So be careful with that because sometimes you can feed yellows the right kind of food and turn them green. Algae wafers or just like Kleb. If there's enough algae buildup in the aquarium, it can turn yellow shrimp green. So like you have to flush out the coloration to them sometimes to get them back to yellow.
Marios, I think we answered this earlier. Is shrimp soil
But he added on the RODI water. But yes, no, you have to use shrimp soil and RODI water, or else the shrimp soil is pointless. So you need both, and you need the GH only minerals. If you don't have these three things, don't try to breed bee shrimp. Like you can get away with the tigers, but bees, Caridina Taiwan bees or crystals or Thai bees, Tai bees, they all need the three most important crucial things for the tank.
Zach said, try not to judge the video too much. It's my first. Got some cool shots of the isopods too. There's some neat critters. Have you seen some of our first videos? We have no room to judge, okay?
Yeah, no, like
we're gonna be redoing some of them.
Yeah, a lot of our videos. And like even if you saw like our last video, it's not that good. So
I'm allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that.
You said that, so I thought it was safe. I thought it was safe, Shelby.
That hurt my feelings. And then Tube Dog said Shelby's skin looked at the sun too long and became red. For sure. It's not good.
I'm allowed to say that, Tube Dog. You're not allowed to say that, okay?
Did you ever use Wonder Shell?
No, we have not. I think I used to use it when I had a parrot. Like my mom might have thrown it into the cage, but we've just like never really had any molting issues. So I haven't been on like a chase to try and find this magical, wonderful wonder shell that's going to solve all my issues that I don't have. So no. Maybe I've thought about using it for the rabbit snails, but that idea is long in the past. Even Nick was like, oh my God, what are you doing for these rabbit snails? And I'm like, food and Grant's chips. And that's it. Like good water changes and those things are on point. So I'm sorry, did I really hurt your feelings about the last video? That was a deep sigh, Shelby.
Simply said, random fish, ? Do you own any of Select Aquatics / Greg Sage lines? I want to add 3 lines of fish and one of his Gudaids, Dadroy or San Marcos lines is one of those 3. Guppy and Medaka are the others. We do not have those lines.
So fun fact, I actually thought Greg Sage was a different person. All right. There's this guy, I swear his name's Greg Sage too. Or something Sage. Maybe it's Mike Sage, or I don't know. But like Labello brings this guy around, and I swore his name was Greg Sage because I was like, maybe it's Greg Sage. No, that's who we're talking about is Greg Sage. So I find out who he is from Nick when he just came down to talk, and I was like, dang, I need to get this guy to come down and speak for our club. So he's coming to speak for our club in August, and I know his uh, policy. He does not bring any fish with him because he's had like 2 or 3 times where T-Bass or the airlines took all of his fish.
Aw.
So maybe I'll have him ship me a bunch of his lines, and then we'll hold it down and bring it to the club meeting. And I'll probably take some of his lines also. But I more or less will probably wait for the guy to come down, and I'll show him our shrimp room. And after that, I'll be like, what do you think I should add to our room? And then take his suggestion and go with that. So nothing yet.
The only thing I have for Good Days is going to be the tequila Good Days. And then Jewel Good Days, but I don't have enough of those. I just got those breeding. Johnny said, you were right. I did feed the yellow neo algae wafers. How do I get them to turn back to yellow?
Just stop feeding them green foods. I mean, the shrimp ND foods are green in coloration, but like they don't turn the shrimp a different coloration. I think it's the spirulina that changes them a different color. And you can actually like grow spirulina naturally. So if you have a lot of like green water and algae on the tank, they can turn green from that too.
Bunny said, Shelby, what kind of baby turtles are in the picture on your membership page? I've never seen them before. They are diamondback terrapins. We used to breed them, but now we are not allowed to have them breeding anymore. We can have ours because we are grandfathered in. But as far as the laws go right now, we can't breed them, but they are pretty cute. We do have a couple videos on our channel about them breeding. Back in the day, and how cute they are. The big mama and the male and the mama live in the pool. So, and then we have their babies out in the greenhouse in their own little tub. So, Jeff Kane said, Shelby Grant, I do recommend keeping the original videos even if you do remake them. Yes, that's our plan. We always like to look back at the cringiness of the beginning. You always want to see where you started from, regardless. Most people don't go back all the way to see all those videos. There's a lot of like one-off videos on our channel. Aquascaping doesn't seem to be a big hit because we're mainly about shrimp. So like we have like tours and aquascaping and turtles. No one really watches. So they'll always be a part of our channel. We're never going to take them down.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about that.
Chevy said you're thinking of Cuttlebone for ferrets.
The Wonder Shell, it's like a Cuttlebone like type thing. Like we've seen them before. It just never had an issue for them.
Sibley said, oh, that's cool. He's no longer breeding green dragons, so you may want to reach out about those. His lines are very rare and unique. Grant, I can send a photo of the one I'm interested in.
Yeah, it all depends on how much room we have too. So if Shelby's fish room can get into full swing and they're not full of killies and gadaids, then maybe we can work in some guppy lines too.
All right, we're going to do this giveaway. Let me close the 300 tabs I have open for no reason. All right. I feel like I'm getting older the more tabs I leave open.
Hashtag scales, last chance to get in on the giveaway. We are giving away this Endler print. Hashtag scales.
Only 38 entries. Quite a bit here. It's a cute little Endler one. It's not shrimp
not
this
Endler
time.
fans, are we, people? Like,
we'll give you a few minutes on this one.
Hashtag scales. It is an Endler. I'm sorry if you were wanting a shrimp or something. Does look like we got a couple of last second entries. So
Definitely quite a bit. I think a lot of people didn't see it before. But hashtag scales. We are caught up in chat though. So
All right.
if you have any questions before we draw this and maybe head out 5 minutes early, I am crying.
Crying.
Tired.
Tired. Huh?
Mm-hmm. It's hitting me like a brick wall right now.
I'm definitely ready for bed, but
Yeah, I got to work a lot this week. It's someone's taking vacation, so a fish just went to the top of the water and like started to go down real fast. So all the other fish thought it was food, so they all just literally just went to him like it was food. Someone asked earlier if I was looking for the bat in the house, and I was like, no, I'm just getting distracted by all the fish looking at me because they're hungry.
did you ever see all the shadows that were going down the stadium wall from the crows?
No, I was too busy actually watching the soccer game.
I got so distracted because like we were watching the soccer. My cousin plays soccer, and it was at the IBM Academy stadium, and the side of the stadium from afar was just like a big screen basically, and the sun was casting shadows on the birds because the birds were like flying around in a circle around the field. It just kept going in the perfect angle for the shadows of the birds to like fall down the building. So it just looked like there was stuff raining down the side of the building. It was kind of crazy. And then the birds went the opposite direction, so then it looked like they're all coming up.
Make sure you check your spelling. It is on the screen. It is hashtag SCALZ.
Yeah, not with a K.
There's people that also put E's in it. So.
All right, last chance. Let's do it.
Refresh. Oh, we jumped up to 52. There we go. A little bit better here.
Still 40 people that are hating on the fish.
53. Just in case. All right.
Spin it.
Oh, sorry. I literally saw one more person enter.
All right. 50. Congratulations. This is who we got our crown tail guppies off of.
Mm-hmm. Is that what they're down here?
They're really, they're doing
really
good. Well.
Yeah, we brought them inside for the winter so that they survive. Just make sure you're still here for that giveaway. Make sure you comment below.
Actually, because of your fish, I learned a really cool trick on how to catch the fish outside in the New Year's. We just put a heater in one corner of the pond, and when it gets super cold, all the fish just swim around the heater. Mm-hmm. So you just take one big old net, and we were able to catch pretty much like all of the guppies in one scoop and move them inside. So yeah.
Congratulations. Just make sure you email us at thegardenofeater@gmail.com and give us your address so we can ship that out to you.
I wonder if that would work with the shrimp. Like, what if we went out there the night before and just put a heater on and, brought out all the shrimp to make your day easier the next day?
Maybe. Well, I think we're going to end it because I'm just a dread.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Go for it. Thank you, everybody, especially if you placed orders and you were patient with us. We're all caught up. Like she said, if anybody has a sticker that they're waiting for, anything like that, feel free to send us a reminder. If you haven't gotten a sticker, send us that email with your address and username for YouTube, and we'll get those all out to you this week. So thank you guys, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Thank you.